Hello, and welcome to another not animated video on this channel that's supposed to be for animations. You know what I love? Red vs. Blue. And you know what's coming out soon? The last season of Red vs. Blue. I'm being super normal about this news, and I'm sure you guys are too. Well, to the people in my audience that actually know what Red vs. Blue is, the people that don't watch it probably don't care. If you're one of those people that don't care, don't watch this video, because that's pretty much what all of this is about. For decades, one question has plagued the minds of all Red vs. Blue fans. No, it's not why are we here, and no, it's not what did Griffin Simmons do in that closet. The biggest question is, who would be the best camping buddy? This might be a question that only I have asked, but I'm gonna answer it anyway, and you're all gonna listen. That's right. In this video, I'm going to be ranking Red vs. Blue characters on a tier list based on how fun I think it would be to go camping with them. Why am I doing this? I don't know, I thought it'd be fun. A little bit goofy, a little bit silly. Before I start breaking this down, I need to get two things out of the way. One, this list is going to have spoilers in it, so if you planned on watching Red vs. Blue in the future, don't watch this. And two, normally in my videos, I censor my curse words. I'm not gonna do that this time, because I really can't be bothered. Red vs. Blue is for adults and my channel's not for kids. I can do what I want. Get out of here! Spoilers are starting now. Apart from church and text, there is going to be no AIs on this list. I'm trying to keep it as concise as possible because Red vs. Blue has a lot of characters. Like, too many, honestly. You could have cut back a little bit. Rule number 2. With the exception of 2 characters at the end of this list, no characters that are introduced after Season 13 are going to be included. This is for 2 reasons. 1, again, being short and concise, and 2, I'm recording this video before Season 19 comes out. And at this point in time, it is widely believed that everything that happened after Season 13 isn't canon anymore, and God, I hope it's not canon. So I really don't feel a need to bother. Plus, there really isn't that many characters, at least that many important characters introduced after Season 13, so who cares? Judging by how long it normally takes me to edit things, this video is probably going to come out after Season 19 starts, which I'm fine with, but that could also mean that everything I just said will get proven wrong, but God, I'm holding on to hope that it's still true. You people of the future hold knowledge that I fear. Now, how is this tier list going to work? How do we determine the best camping buddy? Well, I have broken it down into 3 simple questions. Question 1. Would I hang out with this character? Am I willing to spend days or perhaps weeks out in the wilderness, hanging out with only them? Would I be their friend normally? Do I trust them to not kill me in my sleep? Question 2. What are they packing? I pack my shit and they pack theirs. Are they going to survive? And lastly, question 3. If the situation called for it, would I be willing to share a tent with them? With all that boring stuff out of the way, let us determine which Red vs. Blue characters would make the best camping buddy. And the first gay little spaceman that we're gonna be ranking today is everybody's favorite unkillable jerk, Church! Now, an important thing to discuss when ranking characters like this is that your favorite characters aren't always going to be the best choice. Just because you like a character doesn't mean you would like being around them. Now, I used to hate Church a lot, but in recent times, I've grown a little bit fond of him. He's alright. Is he alright to go camping with? No, he's an asshole. I would not want to hang out with him. Like, he would be a huge jerk to me the whole time for no reason. Like, we'd go out to pick up firewood, and he would, like, insult me for every stick that I picked up or something. he definitely got to be less of a jerk as the series went on, but by the end, he's still not the type of guy I would want to be friends with. Not only is he a jerk, he's just kind of full of himself, and I don't like to hang around people like that. Like, yeah, man, we get it, you're important, but that's only because of nepotism. So that's a big no on the would I hang out with him question. But in terms of what he would bring, I think he'd be pretty sensible on what to pack for a camping trip, but he'd also probably bring that sniper rifle that he doesn't know how to use. And he'd, like, insist that we go hunting with it, but he wouldn't shoot anything, so we'd just, like, stand out in the woods for an hour while he hits holes into trees. And would I share a tent with him? I guess, if I had to. I mean, what's he gonna do? Jaw on my face while I'm asleep? Church goes to D tier. Sorry. Next up is Caboose, and who doesn't love Caboose? I love Caboose. You better love Caboose. Now, I think it goes without saying that I would love to hang out with Caboose. There is one snag, though. Caboose has a tendency to get his friends injured or killed, and in this case, that would involve me. So let's put the friend question under maybe. In terms of what Caboose would pack, I feel like he might need a little bit of help on that front, but otherwise he'd probably bring like blankets and an RC helicopter that we would crash into the tree branches within the first 5 minutes of playing with it. Now, would I share a tent with Caboose? Absolutely. But I'm also worried that he might set it on fire somehow. With all that, I think Caboose belongs in a safe but positive B tier. Now, on to Tucker. Yeah, I'd probably hang out with Tucker. Only post-chorus Tucker, though. Pre-chorus Tucker's kind of a douchebag. Seems like the kind of guy that would be fun to play video games with. Now, camping with him, I'm not sure, to be honest. He seems pretty chill, I guess. Tucker would definitely try to pack a bunch of extra stuff to make camping less boring, but none of them would be things that would interest me. Like, he'd bring one of those portable DVD players, but I would hate every single movie that he brought. Would I share a tent with Tucker? Sure, if I had to. As long as he doesn't take it the wrong way. Tucker also gets a B tier. Ooh, what's that noise? Ah, it's Tex! Tex is not an easy person to make friends with, but God, do I want to be friends with her. But man, I don't know if I have the commitment to wear her down. Trying to become friends with Tex is just so much effort that I do not have. Unfortunately, Tex is a luxury that few can afford, and I am poor. If I somehow managed to convince her to go camping with me, she would probably pack really well, but like too well, like so well that it would make what I packed look like shit and it would make me feel bad forever. Would I share a tent with Tex? I mean, who wouldn't? But again, all of this would take so much effort that I don't have. Plus, I feel like even if I did, she would still be kind of a tough nut to crack and she'd be kind of mean to me the whole time. In the end, I don't really know if it's all worth it, so Tex goes to C. Oh boy, it's washing tub time! Washington is a very cool dude, but let's be real, if we went on a camping trip, he would get way too caught up in stuff and turn it into a boot camp. I feel like he would forget that we're there to have a good time and not brave the wilderness. Otherwise, I think I'd have a good time with him. Wash would overpack. Absolutely. He packed way too much for the amount of time that we would be staying there. But that could be a good thing in some circumstances. Wash is just a little bit high and tight by default, but I feel like if you could get him into the right mood, he'd be a lot more chill. We've seen that Wash can be just as silly as the rest of the Reds and Blues, so it's just a matter of catching him on the right day. Would I share a tent with Agent Washington? Hell yeah. Overall, I think Wash gets an A. Once you get the stick out of his ass, I think he'd be a great camping buddy. Now, on to the team that we all know is the best, the Reds. And who better to start with than the reddest of them? Sarge is a really intense guy. Not the kind of guy I'd want to be friends with, but maybe the kind of guy I'd want to adopt me. Or maybe mentor me. Really, really closely. Anyway. Now, Sarge is an interesting case because he's walking a fine line between the best camping buddy ever and an actual nightmare. I joked that Washington might turn the campsite into a boot camp, but Sarge might actually do that. But, at the same time, Sarge is also the final boss of all grandpas, and nobody camps like a grandpa. Also, according to the PSAs, we know he loves camping. Yeah, I know the PSAs aren't canon, but there's definitely things that we could pull from them. Speaking of that, the same episode also lists the things he would bring, so that's pretty much already covered for us. Those things being hiking boots, spare clothes, bug repellent, sleeping bag, flashlight, M2 gauge shotgun shells, hand grenades, Bowie knife, M41 surface-to-air missiles, and SPF 117 sunblock. Needless to say, our campsite will be very well protected. In full honesty, even if he's the brave the wilderness and survive on mud and sticks type of camper, I don't think I'd have that bad of a time with him. Deep down inside, he's still just a goofy, silly grandpa, even if he would try to make me kill a deer with my teeth. Now, would I share a tent with Sarge? Ho ho ho, of course I would. 'Cause he'd keep me safe, you pervert. And 'cause he's a gilf! That lands Sarge in an optimistic B tier. Now on to good old Simmons. Simmons is an uptight nerd. I know plenty of people like that, so I don't think I'd have a problem being his friend. I consider myself sort of a nerd. I mean, we probably wouldn't share all the same interests, but I'm sure there's something we could be autistic about together. Ooh, we could both play D&D. I feel like he'd be a rules lawyer, though. Anyway, this is about camping. I don't think he'd survive. Alright, now hear me out. Simmons is the kind of guy that takes stuff really seriously, but it's stuff that he's also really not good at, but he's gonna try really hard to be good at it. And it's just not gonna work. I'm saying Simmons would suck at camping, but I also kind of suck at camping, at least camping by myself. So, you know, we could be cringe fail together. I think it'd be fun. We'd get lost, lose our food in the lake, get some kind of food poisoning, but we'd be in it together, and that's what matters. Simmons would pack all the proper camping gear, but he got it at a discount and it'd all break within like 5 minutes. He also brought like 3 gallons of sunscreen because he's fucking pale. And I mean, I'd share a tent with him. Why not? He needs the company. Overall, we might fail and die, but I think I'd have the best time with Simmons so far. I'm putting him in A tier. And now on to the other half of Griff. Griff is a very low-maintenance friend. He's the kind of guy that you always have to go visit because he is not gonna bother driving over to your house. He's good for playing video games with and watching movies, but you will be damned if you try to lug his ass outside to do anything. Which is fine by me because I am also like that. But that's where the problems arise, because this isn't a which red versus blue character would be my best friend tier list, it's who would I have the best time going camping with tier list. And Griff does not want to go camping. The most you could convince him to do is to do like that child version of camping where you just put up a tent in your backyard and your parents keep an eye on you, but then you want to go inside at the last minute because it's dark and scary and it's going to start raining. But even that might be too much effort for him. If I managed to drag his ass outside into the woods for a proper camping trip, he would not want to leave our campsite. He would just want to stay there and make s'mores and tell stories, and that sounds like a good time. God damn it. One thing I will give him, though, he's one of the few people on this list that I trust will bring all of the proper s'mores materials, and maybe more. Would I sleep in the same tent with Griff? Absolutely not. I'm sorry, I can't. He would smell like Tostitos. The only upside to taking Griff camping is the food. I'm sorry, buddy, but you're going into C tier. And now for the straightest guy in Blood Gulch, Donut. Donut is the opposite kind of friend that Griff is. He wants to do so much all the time, and you kind of really want to do it because he's so nice, but it's just so much effort, but you don't want to make him feel bad. Donut's the friend that invites you to every outing, texts you good morning and good night every day, sends you all the things that you like to see, and you feel like you don't deserve them. Because you don't. Now, camping with him, you better bring at least 3 5-hour energies because he is going to want to do everything. It's not even that the activities he wants to do are strenuous. If anything, most of them are supposed to be pretty relaxing, like going on a hike or stopping by the lake nearby, but he just has so much planned and on such a strict schedule. And the whole time, you can't be mad at him because he's having a great time and he wants you to have a great time, and oh, you don't deserve to be his friend. And the most divisive part is what he's bringing, because oh, he is bringing so much. And most of them are luxury items. Did you know the word glamping is a word? I learned that like last week. I hate it, but that's what he's doing. Sharing a tent? Sure, why not? I don't care. At least I can know it's gonna be a very comfortable tent. Donut goes to B tier. Overall, I think I'd have fun, but I'd be so winded afterwards. Now, despite what I said about AIs at the beginning, I know somebody's gonna be like, why isn't Lopez here? So for completionist's sake, I'm gonna go over Lopez very quickly. He's a robot that hates everyone. Also, he only speaks Spanish. F tier. Now, despite Doc being my favorite character, I'm gonna do my best to keep my bias out of this ranking. Because even with my bias, I do recognize that there are some snags that might come up if I were to take him camping. Would I hang out with Doc? Absolutely! He's a nice guy. We can talk about our day, and he can help me through my problems, and I can send him pictures of cats, and he'd send me pictures of cats back, and oh, it'd be such a nice time. Camping with him? Sure, I think it'd be a great time. He'd do a lot more chill, relaxing activities, sort of like Donut, but I feel like he'd take it a bit slower so I could keep up with him. He'd pack all the necessities, plus a kettle with some tea for the fire, and oh, I'd just be so nice if it weren't for one problem, and I'm sure you know what that problem is. O'Malley is there, and boy, does O'Malley not like me. Which leads me to the last question. Would I share a tent with him? Sure, if I wasn't so scared of O'Malley coming out in the night and smothering me to death. Now, hanging out and camping are two different things. I'd be glad to hang out with Doc even if O'Malley was there, because we'd probably be in broad daylight among other people. But if we're camping, we're out in the woods, by ourselves, and no one would be able to hear me scream. Yeah, camping with Doc is too much of a game of Russian roulette for me. I'm gonna put him in a really happy C tier. Okay, I'm gonna get Sister out of the way as fast as I can. No, I wouldn't want to hang out with her. No, I don't think she would bring anything that I would want to look at. And no, I don't want to share a tent because she has STDs. And before you say Skella, STDs only transmit through sex. You're not having sex with her, you're just sharing a tent. Well, remember, this show takes place in the far distant future, and there's no reason I shouldn't believe that some STDs didn't evolve certain strains that don't transmit through more than just sex. And before you go, Skella, that defeats the purpose of it being called an STD. Well, shut up. She could have spores. I don't want to touch the alien sex spores, alright? F tier. Carolina. Oh boy. Similar case with Tex in that it would take a lot of effort to get on her good side and be a real friend to her, but I think I have a better chance with Carolina than I do with Tex. Plus, I don't think Carolina would be as mean to me as Tex would be, so I think I'd be pretty lucky to hang out with her. Carolina on a camping trip would definitely be intense, but not in a bad way. Carolina is gonna push you outside your comfort zone. She's gonna make you do things that you would hate to think about. But in the end, you're probably gonna have fun with it. You're not gonna regret doing any of it at all. You might even want to do it again. Carolina packs all the essentials, nothing more and nothing less, and that's just fine. Sharing a tent with Carolina? Hell yeah, I would. I'm gonna get criticism for this, but I think Carolina's an S tier camping buddy. She's a lot. She is very intense, but not in the bad way that some of the previous entries are, you know what I mean? Oh, what's that sound? That's right, it's time for the Freelancer Lightning Round. Wyoming. He's evil, but he's also kinda silly. B tier. Maine. Scary. F tier. North. Super cool guy. I would be honored to hang out with him for anything. A tier. South. Bitch. D tier. CT. Whatever. C tier. York. That dude was made for an awesome camping trip. S tier. Florida. He is very scary, but he might bring space cakes. B tier. And that concludes our first and only Freelancer Lightning Round. And that brings us back to our regularly paced tier list. Okay, and next on our list is Felix. Do I really gotta entertain this? I mean, the only thing I wrote down for him in my notes is no with 5 exclamation points. Let's just get over this quick. No, I would never hang out with that orange rat bastard. I don't want to know what he would pack, probably knives. And no, I would never share a tent with him because he would probably get out in the night, roll up the tent while I'm still in it, and dump it in a river. F tier, I don't need to explain myself any further. F for Felix. And for next is the less insufferable of the duo, Locus. God, what do I say about Locus? Well, he's not very talkative. And at least he doesn't kill people anymore. That doesn't make me feel much safer, to be honest, though. Yeah, I have the feeling that him and I wouldn't really click. I want Locus as a bodyguard, not a friend. You know what I mean? I don't even know if Locus would enjoy camping. What would he bring? What would he want to do? I feel like he'd just stand in the woods menacingly for 3 days. Would I share a tent with him? Does he sleep? All jokes aside, I don't think I would have very much fun. Mostly because he wouldn't have fun either. I don't know what he does for fun, but it's probably not camping. I'm gonna put Locus in a mysterious C tier. Oh, Kimball. I don't have very strong opinions about Kimball, so I'm gonna keep this very quick. Sure, I'd probably hang out with her, she seems fine. She'd probably pack pretty sensibly, and I guess I would share a tent with her if I had to. B tier, I don't care. Doyle, my dear darling Doyle. Oh, I love Doyle. He probably wouldn't survive camping, let's be real. Look, I don't want to be mean to Doyle, but he really seems like he's begging for it sometimes. I'd love to hang out with him. Like, you know, for a book and some tea and some casual chat. He is not built for the wilderness. He will die out there. Doyle doesn't know the first thing about camping. He would have no idea what to pack. He'd bring a sleeping bag and nothing else. But, of course, I would share a tent with Doyle. Mostly because I don't think he'd survive if I didn't. I love Doyle. He's like my 3rd favorite character. But he has glass bones, paper skin, and the resting heart rate of a field mouse. He is not built for the outdoors. He's going in D tier. D for Doyle. Alright, we finally reached the end of the Camping Buddy tier list. And there is one last thing to rank. If you recall, at the beginning of this tier list, when I was going through the rules, I said that there would be 2 characters that appeared after Season 13. Now, I picked these characters out for 2 reasons. One, I couldn't think of a proper send-off to the tier list, and 2, I like them a lot and I wanted to include them. Those 2 characters being Jax and Dylan. Alright, I'm just gonna say it. I like Season 15. That's right, I am a Season 15 apologist. I thought it was fun, okay? And I know a lot of people don't like them, but I think Dylan and Jax as a duo were really entertaining. Leave me alone. And for that reason, they are taking up 1 entry instead of 2. To me, these 2 are a package deal. Do not separate them. Now, would I be friends with Dylan and Jax? Honestly, I think hanging out with the both of them would be pretty fun. But only the both of them. Separated, Dylan is kind of bland and Jax is kind of insane. It's those friends you can't hang out with individually, you know? Camping with the both of them would definitely be chaotic. But I think it's a welcome chaos. Dylan would probably be interested in more traditional camp activities, and Jax would be off in the distance trying to film a slasher movie in the woods. Dylan would pack pretty sensibly, but I feel like Jax would either have no idea how to pack for camping, or would bring so much stuff and just have Tom's Sky Mall tent from that one episode of Parks and Rec.
Come check out my tent. I ordered a bunch of crap off Sky Mall. I got my TV, my Xbox, DVD, awesome bed right there. DJ Roomba's in the mix. It's like I'm not even camping. This is actually a dog couch, but it's super comfortable.
Could I share a tent with both of them? Probably. As long as it's big enough, I'd be fine. Dylan and Jax as a duo is that perfect chaotic balance that you want in a friend group. And a camping trip with them, honestly, I think would be pretty fun. A tier, fight me. And with that, we are finally done. Holy crap, this video is so long. This is very out of place for the channel. Well, I thought that was pretty fun, and I hope you did too. I'm gonna wrap this up as fast as possible because that length is scaring me. This video was pretty different from my regular content. I try to put out short little animations every now and then, and in between I try to make videos sort of like this that aren't animations and are just something I can edit together for fun. I'm trying not to cling on to the idea that I'm just an animation channel. I really want this channel to just be anything that I want to make at whatever pace I want. So if you enjoyed what I made here and like some of the other stuff I put out, please subscribe. It would really help me out and make me feel good about what I'm making. I'm really excited for Season 19, and I'm praying that it doesn't suck. Like this video to die instantly, and goodbye!